You know what's funny? Every woman thinks she knows how to kiss a man, but if you ask most men privately, they'll tell you that only a handful of women ever made them feel something deeper than a spark. See, the truth is, men aren't that hard to turn on. But making him completely lose control, making him crave you long after you've walked away, that's a different art. And that art begins with understanding 3 secret places on his body that are wired not just for pleasure, but for emotional surrender. Now, before you roll your eyes and think, "Oh, I already know where those spots are," let me tell you something. You don't, because they're not where you think. And if you master them, he'll never forget the way you touch him, no matter how many women he meets after you. But here's where most women get it wrong. They confuse being sexy with being strategic. They think kissing is about passion and spontaneity. It's not. It's about rhythm, anticipation, and connection. And the right kiss at the right place with the right intention can make a man's entire body go weak. I used to believe that kissing was just about chemistry, that magical click you can't explain. But after years coaching women in relationships, I've learned that chemistry is something you can create. You can build it layer by layer through energy, timing, and focus. So today, I want to show you 3 spots that flip a man's neurological and emotional switches at the same time. Because when you touch both his body and his ego in the right way, you create a loop in his brain that tells him, "I want more of her." Let me ask you something. Have you ever kissed a man and felt him stiffen like he's into it, but not melting? That's because you were probably kissing him in all the predictable places. Lips, neck, maybe chest, and he's enjoying it. Sure, but his brain isn't surprised. There's no jolt, no signal that says, "This woman is different." Men crave novelty just as much as they crave validation. What actually makes him lose his mind isn't just how you kiss, it's where and why. Here's the secret. Most women never learn. Men have pleasure receptors connected not only to their erogenous zones, but also to their sense of pride, safety, and surrender. When you find the places that trigger both the physical and the psychological, you stop being just another lover. You become the woman who rewires his nervous system. And that's what these 3 kissing spots do. But before we go into them, I want you to understand the emotional foundation behind this. Most women think men want control. The truth, the right man wants to trust you enough to lose control. And the way to get him there isn't by being dominant. It's by being present. It's the way your touch tells him, "You're safe with me. You can let go." That's what turns him on beyond logic. That's what creates obsession. Because to a man, surrender is the ultimate vulnerability. And the woman who can guide him there is unforgettable. Now, I'm not here to give you a list of tricks or shallow tactics. This isn't about manipulation. This is about understanding his biology and his psychology, the science of touch and the emotion of connection. You see, when you kiss him in certain areas, you activate parts of his nervous system that release dopamine and oxytocin, the same hormones that make him feel pleasure, trust, and bonding all at once. That's why these 3 spots are so powerful. They don't just feel good, they make him associate you with comfort and euphoria. And here's the part most women miss. The kiss that makes him lose his mind doesn't start with your lips. It starts with your intention. When you touch him with curiosity, when you pause just long enough for him to wonder what's coming next, when your breath hovers close but doesn't land yet, you're creating psychological anticipation. That's what builds desire. The first 3 seconds of hesitation before you kiss him are often more powerful than the kiss itself. That's what triggers the mind-body feedback loop of obsession. But I'll be honest with you, I used to get this wrong. I used to think that passion was about going faster, about showing enthusiasm, about proving I was into him. But men don't remember the woman who moves fast. They remember the woman who makes time slow down, the woman who kisses like she's exploring, not performing, because to him, that says, she's not trying to impress me, she's feeling me. And before I reveal those 3 hidden spots, I want you to hold one thought in your mind. The goal is not to turn him on, the goal is to turn him inward. You want to make him feel something so deep that he stops thinking and starts feeling. You want to bring him into that space where his body and his heart can't tell the difference between desire and devotion. So, if you've ever wanted to be the woman who gets under his skin, who lingers in his memory long after the moment ends, stay with me, because in the next few minutes I'm going to show you exactly where those spots are, how to touch them, and why they work on a level most people never even think about. Most women underestimate how powerful the space behind a man's ear can be. It's small, it's subtle, but it's one of the most neurologically sensitive zones on his entire body. The skin there is thin, packed with tiny nerve endings, and sits right above the branches of the vagus nerve, the same one that calms the body and heightens intimacy. When you touch or kiss this spot the right way, you're not just stimulating him physically, you're communicating something far more intimate: safety, focus, and complete attention. The reason this spot drives him wild isn't just about pleasure, it's about trust. When you move close enough to his ear, you're entering his most private territory, his personal frequency. That's where his body unconsciously listens for danger, for closeness, for emotional cues. When your breath touches that skin, it signals to his nervous system that you're safe, familiar, and deeply connected. That's why he'll shiver or pause mid-breath or tilt his head slightly, because his brain is processing the mix of arousal and emotional surrender. Here's how to do it right. Don't rush. You never go directly for it. You build your way there, like a slow rhythm. Start by talking close to his ear, but not touching. Say something soft, maybe something teasing, maybe just a whisper of his name. Then let your breath brush the edge of his jawline. If he leans in, you're ready. Move slowly up to the curve behind his ear and stop. Just pause. Let the tension build in silence. That pause is the moment his mind shifts from thought to sensation. Then barely kiss the skin behind his ear. Not his neck, not his earlobe, the soft patch right beneath the curve of bone where his neck meets his skull. Use almost no pressure, just warmth and breath. Hold it for a second longer than feels natural. Then pull away. Don't go back immediately. Let him chase that sensation in his mind. This is what Matthew Hussey would call emotional pacing. The art of giving just enough to create hunger without overwhelming him. You're teaching his nervous system to crave your restraint. And when you master that balance, he'll associate your presence with anticipation rather than completion. That's far more addictive. See, men are trained to be in control. Their world runs on logic and momentum. But when a woman introduces stillness, soft, intentional stillness, she disrupts that pattern. Behind his ear is where you can access that disruption. It's the place that flips the switch from control to surrender. Every man, even the most confident one, wants to feel safe enough to let go. He may not say it, but it's true. When you kiss this spot, you're giving him permission to stop performing. You're saying, you can just be. And that's a feeling he doesn't get anywhere else. There's also something primal about this area. In evolutionary terms, this spot is where humans sense warmth, breath, and pheromones, the markers of intimacy and trust. When you kiss him there, his body floods with oxytocin and dopamine, the same combination that deepens emotional attachment. It's not just sexual chemistry, it's biological bonding. That's why, after a deep lingering kiss behind the ear, many men instinctively pull you closer. It's not because of lust. It's because their brain is literally trying to merge with the source of that comfort. And here's a secret. How you exit that moment matters just as much as how you enter it. After you kiss him behind the ear, stay close for a beat. Let your lips hover near his skin as you exhale slowly. That warm breath tells his subconscious you're still there, still connected. Then move away, but don't make eye contact yet. Let him come to you. Let him reopen that loop. When he does, he's no longer thinking about what's next. He's thinking about you. What makes this first spot so powerful is the emotional message it carries. It tells him, I see the part of you that no one else touches, the part that's hidden, protected. And when he feels that kind of recognition, he won't just desire you, he'll feel known. That's a level of connection most men never experience. And it starts with something as simple as one gentle kiss behind the ear. But don't forget the mindset. This isn't about performing some secret technique, it's about presence. If you're in your head thinking, okay, this is step one, you'll lose the moment. The magic comes from genuine curiosity, listening to his breathing, sensing the shift in his body, following your intuition instead of a checklist. Because the truth is, the most powerful kiss doesn't look planned, it looks discovered. And when he feels like you're discovering him rather than executing a move, he'll melt. Every single time. So the next time you're close and you're tempted to go straight for the lips or the neck, pause, hover. Let your lips find that secret curve behind his ear. Let the silence stretch. Let the electricity rise. And when you finally touch him there, do it like you're telling him something only his body can understand. That's how you start the unraveling. That's how you make him lose his mind. Most women have no idea how intimate a man's wrist can be. It's one of those places that's constantly exposed, but almost never truly touched. And that's exactly why it's so powerful. The inside of his wrist is packed with sensory nerve endings that connect directly to the pathways, controlling his heart rate and arousal response. When you touch or kiss him there, you're literally tapping into the rhythm of his heartbeat, the pulse of his body that tells his brain, you're alive, you're desired, you're seen. And what's beautiful about this spot is how subtle it is. It's not a bold sexual move. It's quiet, disarming, almost innocent. But that's what makes it unforgettable. You're entering his world through gentleness, not seduction. Start simply. Maybe you're sitting across from him at dinner, his arm resting on the table. You're laughing, teasing, holding eye contact. Then, in one small, natural movement, reach for his hand. Don't grip it. Just turn it slightly so his palm faces up. Run your fingertips slowly over the soft skin where his wrist meets his hand. That's the moment you'll feel his pulse flutter. That tiny rhythm beneath your touch is his body's involuntary confession. He's feeling something now. Pause. Let your thumb trace lazy circles over that spot as you talk. You're anchoring your connection to his heartbeat without saying a word. When you finally bring your lips down to kiss that spot slowly, deliberately, it sends a signal straight to his nervous system. His body translates it as safety mixed with anticipation. It's the same physiological trigger that happens when adrenaline and oxytocin collide. He feels excited, but calm, aroused, yet grounded. And that's the duality that keeps men addicted. They're not just chasing pleasure, they're chasing peace inside, excitement. And you become the source of both. The wrist works because it's unexpected. Every man has had his neck kissed, his chest touched. But when you kiss the inside of his wrist, you're telling him something different. I'm paying attention to the details. That's what penetrates his emotional armor. You're not treating him like a performance. You're exploring him like a map. And no one forgets the person who studies them like that. The technique is simple, but it demands patience. Don't pounce, drift. Hover your lips over the inside of his wrist until your breath warms the skin. Watch his reaction. If he tenses, pull back slightly. If he relaxes or exhales, that's your green light. Then kiss him once softly, slowly, right on the pulse. Hold it for 2 or 3 seconds, just long enough for your breath to sync with his. When you pull away, do it with intention, like you're taking something from him he didn't know he was giving. That tiny withdrawal of warmth makes his brain crave your touch again. That's how the loop begins. Hussey often says that attraction lives in contrast, the dance between closeness and distance. The wrist kiss embodies that perfectly. It's the most delicate push-pull moment you can create with nothing but stillness and timing. After that, don't rush to fill the silence. Let it hang. Maybe smile like you know something he doesn't, because you do. You've just activated a part of his sensory memory that will replay itself later when he's alone, wondering why he suddenly misses your touch. That's not manipulation, it's imprinting. His body will remember that softness long after his mind has forgotten the details. What makes the wrist kiss so potent is also symbolic. The wrist is where we take our pulse. It's where life is most tangible. When you kiss him there, you're acknowledging that aliveness in him. You're saying, I feel you, I see you, you're real to me. And for men, that's magnetic. They rarely get to feel seen beyond strength or confidence. But this kind of gentle attention cuts through that armor. It tells him he doesn't need to perform, he just needs to be. Here's a small trick to deepen it even more. After the kiss, lightly trace the same spot with your fingertip in a small spiral. Don't look at him. Keep talking, laughing, moving on as if nothing happened. That disconnect between your casual tone and the intimate gesture will short-circuit his brain. He won't know whether to breathe or lean closer. That's what you want, quiet chaos inside him. Because desire doesn't scream. It hums beneath the surface. And when you learn to play with that subtle hum, you control the emotional tempo of every interaction. Remember, this isn't about dominance. It's about presence. When your energy says, I'm fully here with you, his defenses drop. When your touch says, I see you, his heart opens. The kiss on the wrist is the smallest gesture that carries the loudest emotional message. I choose you in this moment. And that's what every man secretly craves. So, next time you're close enough to touch his hand, resist the urge to go for the obvious. Let your fingertips drift down to his wrist. Feel that pulse under your skin. Kiss it like a secret you're promising to keep. Then pull away just slightly and watch his body lean toward yours before he even realizes he's doing it. That's the power of subtlety. That's how you start to make him lose his mind, one heartbeat at a time. There's a place on a man's body that almost no one pays attention to, yet it's one of the most vulnerable and emotionally charged areas. He has the small of his back, right where his spine curves before meeting the waistline. It's a place that carries the quiet tension of control, strength, and pressure. All the things men are conditioned to hold every day. And when you touch or kiss him there, you're not just making him feel good, you're giving him permission to release everything he's been carrying. It's not just physical, it's psychological. That's why this spot is so powerful. The lower back sits at the intersection of protection and surrender. Biologically, it's where his body holds stress. Emotionally, it's where he hides softness. When your hand or lips land there, it bypasses logic and speaks directly to the part of him that craves rest, trust, and belonging. Most women rush past it, maybe grazing it during a hug, never realizing how much power lives in that small gesture. But when you linger there intentionally, everything changes. Imagine you're standing behind him. Maybe you're in the kitchen, or he's doing something mundane, like reaching for something on a shelf. You step close enough that your body aligns with his. You place your hand gently on that curve of his back, not pressing, just resting. It's the weight of connection, not control. In that moment, he feels your presence, not as a touch, but as grounding. His body registers that you're behind him, not to challenge his strength, but to support it. Then let your fingers move slowly, tracing tiny circles along that soft ridge of muscle. You'll feel him exhale almost unconsciously. That's his nervous system beginning to let go. Now, if you want to take it deeper, lean forward and let your lips barely touch the space just above his waistband in the center of his spine. Don't kiss like you're trying to arouse him. Kiss like you're trying to calm him. The paradox is what makes it electric. His brain can't categorize the sensation. It's not purely sexual, not purely soothing. So it lights up every circuit trying to process it. That confusion is what creates addiction. His body starts craving more, because it can't define what just happened. The small of the back is also a symbolically submissive space. It's where warriors once wore their vulnerability unguarded, unseen. When you kiss him there, you're saying without words, "You don't have to protect yourself with me." That message hits harder than any seductive line ever could. It's not about dominance or control. It's about safety. And when a man feels safe enough to surrender, that's when he truly loses his mind. But timing matters. Never start with this spot. It's too intimate, too revealing. You use it when you've already built tension. When there's already trust in the air. When his body is open and his breathing deep. The lower back kiss is a reward, a punctuation mark at the end of connection. It tells him you're home. Here's the rhythm. Rest your hand there for a few seconds. Let your fingers spread slightly. Trace the line of his spine downward, and then stop just above his waistband. Pause. Let him feel the heat of your breath, before you even touch your lips to his skin. That pause creates the pull. Then one slow kiss. Hold. Withdraw. Wait. Let silence do the talking. When you pull back, keep your hand there. Fingers resting on that same spot. Don't move. Just breathe with him. What you're doing is syncing your nervous systems to bodies communicating without a word. That's intimacy on a primal level. And when you finally break that contact, step away, walk past him, maybe smile over your shoulder. You're leaving him suspended in the afterglow of both arousal and emotional safety. It's intoxicating. Most women underestimate how much men crave that. The world tells them to be strong, to never drop their guard. But in private, what they want most is a place where they don't have to perform. Your kiss on his lower back becomes that permission slip. It tells him, you can rest here. And once he's felt that with you, he'll chase that feeling again and again, because it's rarer than passion. It's peace. And peace is the deepest form of desire. Hussey always says that attraction isn't about proving your value. It's about showing your presence. The lower back kiss is pure presence. It's you saying, I see the man underneath the armor. And that's what makes you unforgettable. So, next time you're close enough. Maybe, after a moment of laughter or a quiet pause between kisses, let your hand find that spot. Don't make it a move. Make it a message. Touch him there as if you're telling his body, you can let go now. Kiss him there like you're sealing a promise, not claiming territory. Then pull away just before he expects you to. That's how you make him follow the memory, not just the moment. That's how you create the kind of desire that doesn't fade when the lights go out, it deepens in the silence after. Because the real art of connection isn't about how hot things get, it's about how safe you can make heat feel. And that's the secret no one tells you. The lower back is where a man stops being in control and starts being real. The secret to these 3 spots isn't about memorizing a routine. It's about weaving them into moments so naturally that they feel like instinct. When you understand how to connect them, you stop thinking like someone who's performing affection and start moving like someone who embodies it. The goal isn't to overwhelm him with intensity. but to guide him into a rhythm that makes his body, his breath, and his emotions align with yours. Each spot has its own emotional tone. The area behind his ear awakens curiosity and surrender. It's the whisper before the storm. The inside of his wrist builds anticipation. It's the heartbeat that says, "I'm here, I'm feeling you." And the small of his back brings resolution. It's the place that says, "You can let go." When you combine them in the right sequence, you create a sensory story that begins with intrigue, swells with connection, and ends with trust. That's what makes a man not just attracted to you, but emotionally anchored to you. But here's where most women lose the magic. They try too hard. They overthink the order, the timing, the response. They start asking, "Did he like that? Should I move here now?" The moment you go into your head, you leave the connection. Men feel that instantly. What keeps him mesmerized isn't your precision. It's your presence. It's the way you seem to lose yourself in the moment, in him, in the space between one breath and the next. So, forget the formula. Think of it as a conversation made of touch. You're not talking to his body. You're listening to it. When his breath catches, that's a yes. When his shoulders soften, that's trust. When he goes quiet, that's surrender. That's when you know the language is landing. The best way to bring these three spots together is in layers. Don't hit them all in one night. Let each one become its own memory. Maybe the first time you linger behind his ear while whispering something that makes him smile. The next time, when you're sitting together, you trace his wrist while he talks. The time after that, when things have deepened, you find the small of his back and hold him there until his body stops resisting. You're teaching him slowly that your touch equals calm, equals desire, equals home, and that's when you'll notice something subtle. He'll start reaching for you first. His hand will find your wrist when you're walking. His back will angle toward you when he stands close. His head will tilt slightly, unconsciously offering you that space behind his ear. That's his body craving the map you've drawn on it. The connection becomes self-reinforcing. Every gesture triggers the memory of the last one. That's when you know you've gone beyond attraction. You've entered imprinting. But here's the deeper truth. No one talks about these techniques. Only work when they come from a genuine desire to give, not to get. When your energy says, "I want to make you feel safe, desired, and seen," his body reads that. It softens. When your energy says, "I want to make you obsessed with me," his body tenses. Humans are wired to detect intention through microsignals. You can't fake real care. That's why the same physical touch can either build intimacy or break it. It's the intention that decides. The irony is that when you stop trying to make him lose his mind, that's when he actually does, because he stops feeling like you're leading him somewhere and starts feeling like he's discovering something sacred with you. That's what Hussey always teaches. True attraction isn't about chasing validation. It's about embodying value. And value, in this context, means the ability to create emotional depth without demanding anything in return. So when you're with him, slow down. Let silence fill the spaces between words. Don't be afraid of pauses, there where tension lives. When your lips find his skin, don't think about reaction. Think about connection. You're not just kissing him. You're speaking to every part of him that's tired of pretending he's invincible. The world expects him to be composed, logical, strong, but in your presence, he should feel free to unravel a little. That's the gift you're giving. That's what makes him stay. And here's the final secret. These moments don't just change him, they change you. Because when you start touching with that level of presence and awareness, you stop chasing attention. You realize your power isn't in how desirable you look, but in how deeply you can make someone feel. You become magnetic, not because you're trying to attract, but because you're anchored in your own calm confidence. That's the energy that draws him in over and over again. So the next time you're close enough to touch him, don't think about how to impress him. Think about how to feel him. Think about how each breath, each pause, each brush of your lips tells a story about the kind of woman you are: grounded, attentive, effortlessly captivating. Let every move you make be slow enough to be remembered and soft enough to be missed. Because, in the end, the 3 kissing spots aren't really about his body at all. They're about teaching him what real connection feels like. The kind that lingers long after the moment ends. The kind that haunts him in the quiet. The kind that makes him whisper your name without even realizing it. That's not a trick. That's the power of presence. That's the art of making him lose his mind.